So, this is on the thumb drive, everything here on,
Ahí está. Toda esa información está ahí.
and you can learn regular centrifugals, different ways to install it, different models, piping. You become expert. Oh,
Okay, sir.
good machine.
Es
Good
blue.
machine.
Digo,
Yeah.
yellow. This is Sugar Caterpillar.
They forgot to put a drain here.
Sugar Oruga.
Yeah. Okay, so I have the installation PowerPoints that we kinda went over, all right there, you can review and go back through. These are old PowerPoints, but I included them for you guys to have. I have, you were asking me about the commissioning report. This is what you would give your customer, remember? So that way, you make sure this is filled out, easy. That's the easy short version that's on there. And then here's the long version that Eduardo wants.
Yes.
With everything right there.
Sí, es que
Okay,
ahí-
and
ahí
you can
todos
fix
los-
it and change it to Spanish, and, you know, and do it, you know what I mean, fix the English, that needs to be on it, I left it in, Excel instead of putting it in PDF. Maybe I put it in PDF. Give me the card. Not putting it. The warranty.
What are you talking about?
The warranty paperwork, there you go, I have included that right there. Let's see, that's just a writing correction. Different ways to slant things that help you on your install. I included, the CT measurement, let's talk about this. So I showed you on the CT out there, the burden rate on a CT in there. Remember the one that says 12 kVA? So you go to the burden rate right here. It was 12.5 on that one right here. And you'll see that at 59 feet, the minimum wire size needs to be 18. Okay, now if you notice, if you get a not so good of a CT, there's lots of cheap CTs out there, right? That you go and you buy in San Diego, you know what I mean? You can only go 27 feet at 18. So the burden is you gotta find the burden out on the CT. So, because that starter isn't always gonna be right next to the air compressor. It could be 2 or 3, you know, it could be a lot further.
Nice.
So, yeah, long ways. I had one in, if that's the case, I would put the CT in the motor, if you have enough room. You know, you can do that too. But you find out the burden, right? And then here's your wire size and how far you can run that with the wire size. Very important. With just this right here, and I showed you, they ran 22 gauge for this one right here. And it was supposed to be 18, right? And you think, look close, huh? They have 40 amp difference. So 225? It was 265, 275 at the starter, and I was seeing 225 at the air compressor. So I included that in there.
Okay.
$5.
¿Se entiende?
That's a good one.
Se
Huh?
entiende el concepto, ¿no? ¿Por qué la importancia de esto? El transformador de corriente, que es la dona que está midiendo la corriente del arrancador, ¿no? Si no está bien dimensionado el cable, podría mandar una señal diferente al controlador.
Errónea.
Como el controlador está cuidando ese parámetro de corriente, pues entonces se va a fiar de algo que no es fiable. ¿De acuerdo? Pues puede estar en el arrancador consumiendo 600 amperes y acá quizá 500 es la señal, entonces se puede dañar el motor y ¡pum!
If you need to find, like this, if you need to find the wire size of control wiring, what kind of wiring you can go through. You can go through here. Oops, I can't see. You can see here the cooling water size right there. Install control signal wire between stator and LCP correctly. Install shielded wire for current signal. So there's things that help you with the, you remember when we were doing and I had them go get the other wire, the shielded cable wire? You know, that's all, you can find that in your commissioning report right here. We also, I got it. What is this? You can, practice. Here's a common discharge valve. Probably a Centr discharge horizontal, but you get the idea, the concept that if you got an elbow there, you wanna have a low point drain, you know, so, you go right here, elbow, you have your maintenance flange, you want your discharge pressure, your temperature pressure. This is a common, thing out the customer side of things, not Centrifugal, not Solar, or not Mac Power, or Madiska, or Calty. This is usually the customer, but you can recommend these things in the block valve. And see how they have the safety valve, we've seen
But
some pictures.
it depends on the
Customer.
But what we need is a valve to do the commissioning test,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So we can take out the safety valve and
Put a valve.
put a valve and open.
That's
a
for
thing.
the load unload machine.
Mhm.
On the machine like this, you just blow the air right out the blow off valve and you surge it, with the block valve closed, you surge it right out the blow off, right out the silencer.
Okay.
But with a load unload machine, you need to put a valve in here.
Famosa.
Famosa. Yeah, right out there.
Oh,
So you-
un buen punto. Cuando son las máquinas, carga o no carga, nada más es cuando se requiere una válvula para hacer pruebas. Y por ahí es donde vamos a controlar el equipo, ¿no? Pero porque no vamos a necesitar, no queremos en ese momento meter el aire del compresor a la línea del cliente y no poder controlar o descontrolar algo que no va, ¿cierto? Pero para los equipos que tienen la válvula automática, entonces para esto no se ocuparía, ¿no? Porque el mismo sistema debería de controlar esta válvula. Si les sirve de nota.
So, this is, you don't see this often, huh? Not in a rotary screw, not in piston machines.
In a good installation, yes.
On a good installation.
Yeah.
A centrifugal, you see this? Yeah, here, on my installation, you do. But you see the purpose of the air going in. Now, let me tell you, a lot of this, times have changed. Centrifugals, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, they had bigger clearances. And so pipe design was more critical then than today. Because now we have tighter clearances, we're able to machine tighter clearances, and we're pretty good. You can get away a little bit with the 90 and not a sweeping 90. I still practice and I still believe and know that the correct installation is the long radius sweep in at 90s. You don't want a 90, you wanna minimize your 90s, and installation is critical.
Yeah, but the rule is how much the 90s you can have before storage or before air system.
You know, there isn't one, but what I would do is there, in your Air Master course, when you take your Air Master exam, you would wanna do velocity and minimize the velocity in the pipe. So you figure out your flow and you figure out the 90s to the T. They're gonna put a T, we don't want a T, right? You're gonna want to figure that out. So the rule of thumb is the minute you come out of the discharge of the centrifugal, what do? One pipe size up. Now you've got a little forgiveness. Now you can put a 90 in, right? Because,
You must have.
you know what I
You
mean?
must have a 90.
Yeah, because you have to have a 90,
Radio.
you know what I mean? But it's a lot easier on the centrifugal and on your installation if you immediately, after the auto block valve, one pipe size bigger. Cause then you can have a little bit more 90 and another 90. You may wanna, and the customer, what's he gonna do? The customer is gonna put a T in there, isn't he? He always does. The salesman never tells them, and they always put a T in there.
Bueno, básicamente aquí es algo que le ayuda mucho a la máquina, nos está explicando, bueno, en la actualidad son máquinas muy eficientes, son máquinas muy, con ajustes muy cercanos, pues, que es lo que nos da mayor eficiencia. Pero si tú tienes una tubería pobre, entonces vas a generar que esa máquina no esté trabajando en las mejores condiciones. Entonces, dice, en automático, en cuanto tú tienes la descarga, lo recomendable es que tengas una medida de tubería mayor y evites en su menor cantidad los codos de 90 grados, ¿de acuerdo? Antes del sistema de distribución o el tanque, ya depende de lo que tenga el cliente, ¿no? La intención es ayudarle a ese compresor a que sea lo más eficiente posible y evitar esa restricción que lo podría afectar.
I put in here the compressed air best practices. This is on centrifugal. In the compressed air, inlet piping, air best practices. You have the whole manual. You can share with customer, make things easier when you get to the centrifugal section and air piping. You show them, because you're just him, you know, but sometimes if the customer reads this and sees this, he does it because he sees that there's information. If he does it like that because it's from America, he can do this one that I gave you guys. Voila, I touch it. Okay, so touchy. And so, you get all your information on stainless steel pipe, you know, piping information. It's a good read, please read it. But it gets to the centrifugal part of it. Pipe slope, reciprocating air compressors, centrifugal air compressor. Look at it, say, right here, every time I preach it, I tell you, I learned it, not from here, but it says the same thing. Discharge piping should be larger than the compressor connection. So even, both books say it, because they heard it from me. But it's in there, and the customer can read it, and so, when you're talking to an engineer, they're gonna argue with you because they're educated, you can just show him what, this is best practice, recommendation. And the customer will know that he appreciates your knowledge of centrifugals and centrifugal installations. And, cause you wanna go back to that customer, cause maybe you wanna show another customer this site and the proper piping and the proper installation and sell another centrifugal. Always have a referral in the pocket. So I have that for you. I have I gave you the horizontal information because sometimes that drain right there, they may not have a pad, they just put it on a flat concrete, and you're gonna want to have a automatic drain, and here's the other model that you can put in that's horizontal.
It looks this model.
Yeah.
It looks like this is another model.
Yeah, and thinner down here like this. So they used to work for this company and they quit and opened up this company. You know, that's how this started.
De lado. ¿En serio?
No. Yo digo que se parece un poco. Como si nada más lo hubieran rotado, ¿no? Realmente son dos modelos diferentes, pero algunas veces lo que han optado es por utilizar el otro modelo cuando no está, cuando no tiene la altura necesaria.
Ese que salió yo lo vi, pero no me acuerdo del nombre, de alguna compañía del costado.
Yo no lo había visto, soy honesto.
So I gave you the TRA centrifugal users manual. And so a lot of good stuff in your
La memoria.
Todo está ahí en la memoria.
Digo que se tapó.
¿Desde qué?
Que sí, también.
So
Triple X.
at the end of the class, there's another class. Typically, these classes are 10 days. You know, you have this section, it's a lot to understand how to commission, how to get it in. The second class is about controls and the PID loop system and the surging of the machine. It's a very important, it should be the next class, absolutely, so you can tune this into the system. You can't shortcut that and try to do it in a day or do it in hours. You need to understand the whole PID loop, so that way you can get in there and spend the time tuning the machine. That will be the second class, right there. We can do that in Mexico, we can do that right here.
Right here?
Yeah, right
No,
here.
nomás
Good
díganos
food,
de-
good, Hard Rocks, you know. And then the third class, right, to be certified,
Ah,
right,
sí, entiendo.
is on, we tear that machine completely apart, we put it together and we run it. That's pretty badass, you know what I mean, as a team,
Gear and
everything, pull it out,
When?
put it on the ground.
Next
Uh,
month or
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, this is,
2 months.
It's up to us.
Christmas.
it's up to us, you have to, Alex and Juan. right
2
here.
months.
So, this is,
You know, walk in Lala. We maybe next year we're going to need to change some parts of the
and we go down and
gearbox.
we do it right there.
We need to
Es una autoevaluación de cómo te
¿Mm?
sentiste.
we need to know how to do it.
Ay, ¿por qué no lo
So typically how it happens, like that right there, is, hey, we know we're gonna go do it. You pay me to go down there with you, it's the same course as there, and we do it right then and there.
Digo que si falta otro cosito.
Honda, same thing,
Otro
tear it
cosito.
apart, Honda before,
Otros dos.
go do the
I
whole
said
machine,
Honda.
yeah, Honda.
Lo bueno que tenemos la visa, no vas a
They
ver
have
si
a
hay-
oil leak on the seal.
They want to do it this year, but I said no.
Mira,
10, 10, 10,
Please.
10, 10.
please range.
This is goes to my boss. So,
10.
you know,
Muy bien. Uno.
there was a lot of information that we
Vamos
put
a
out this week.
evaluar,
But as you know, there's also the course outline. The second course will go into controls and the third course will go into tearing the machine down apart. But This is to grade your thought of the class on your first exposure to, you know, installation, commissioning, wiring the starters, you know, everything that you kinda know you're gonna face, you know, was this week,
Así aprendí.
so.
Mira,
¿Qué dijo?
tuvo la información.
Mira,
Ponle ahí.
Aquí es información.
O sea, ¿qué tal?
Para empezar,
según tú, ¿cómo
dice
viste
que
la información?
un
O sea,
nivel
tú.
avanzado para poder
¿Ah, sí?
llegar a desarmar la
¿Te
unidad sin
entendiste o
overhaul.
qué? O sea,
Sí,
tú estás
son 3 clases.
Lo que digo de 3 cursos.
Entonces,
Hay que programar.
ahora
aquí.
¿ah?
Aquí, Michia.
Aquí.
Tú nomás dile a Marisa, Marisa tiene que mandar. Sí.
Yo no tengo ningún problema.
Ya por voy a estar 21 años ahora.
Sí, ya para tu cosa ya tengo los 20.
No te voy a sacar de los...
No, sí, sí, ahí
Ya
te mando
quieres
para acá.
ser-
Porque...
¿Y sabes qué es lo
Ok.
peor? Que
¿Quieres
ahora
ser-
vamos a pistear todo.
Ok,
Ya quiere ser cinta negra. güey.
ok. Entonces, aquí el punto es, son 3 clases lo que se requiere para poder llegar al desensamble de la máquina y un mantenimiento profundo, ¿no? Estas máquinas, para empezar, no necesitan un mantenimiento
Como los otros.
como los otros compresores, ¿no? Es un poco más el tiempo para poder llegar a un mantenimiento más a profundidad.
Concreto.
Estamos invitados a tener el siguiente curso. Será un poco parte de la decisión del grupo de Latinoamérica, de la distribución en Latinoamérica. Me gustaría que entendieran también una cosa, es el primer curso que Zuller da de centrífugos. Nadie más ha recibido en Estados Unidos o en ninguna otra parte del mundo de Zuller un entrenamiento de centrífugos.
Híjole,
Esto ha venido por nuestra presión, por el grupo de Latinoamérica, pedirle a Azul que eso se dé. Este entrenamiento se llama entrenamiento de centrífugo nivel 1 beta.
Una por ahí.
O sea que
Piloto.
No, lo que
No,
pasa
pues,
es
sí
que
me-
no está ajustado todo, ¿no? Nos dio muchísima información, nos está dando muchísima información que a lo mejor no la hemos podido ver por completo, ¿no? Pero para la instalación y la puesta en marcha, yo creo que vamos a cubrir muchas cosas. El siguiente curso dependerá de nosotros, poner el dedo en la llaga y echarse una vez. Vamos al nivel 2. Estamos listos para el nivel 2.
Vista ya tenemos.
si sigues intentando pistear sin menor de edad, no comes.
Te la van a quitar.
En México. Eso es de
Aquí, mira, del charquito bueno, tú sí brincas un charco, ¿va? Del río ese que brincas para acá, olvídate de lo que haces en México. Aquí vivimos, mira, agarra, te dice, mira, aquí le pegó el chavo.
Ahorita voy a pistear. No me tengo que ir sin pistear. No, pero sí estaría bien, porque la verdad, esto es la base nomás, como quien
Me
dice.
gustaría que le preguntaras a la inversa a él, ¿qué considera o hasta dónde considera él que con este curso nosotros podemos hacer? No lo que diga esto, no lo que dice esto, no lo, hasta donde él considera. Porque a lo mejor yo me adelanto un poco más a usted porque tuve la experiencia de vivir, afortunadamente tuve la experiencia de vivir y que fue un arranque. Un mes